Hello everyone, today we are reading the chapter 4 of Animal Kingdom from Plus 1 Zoology. So let's start. When you look around, you will observe different animals with different structures and forms. As over 1 million species of animals have been described till now, the need for classification has all the more important. The classification also helps in assigning a systematic position to newly described species. Basis of classification. In spite of differences in structure and form of different animals, there are fundamental features common to various individuals in relation to the arrangement of cells, body symmetry, nature of coelom, pattern of digestive, circulatory, or reproductive systems. These features are used as the basis of animal classification, and some of them are discussed here. Levels of organization. Though all members of Animalia are multicellular, all of them do not exhibit the same pattern of organization of cells. For example, in sponges, the cells are arranged as loose cell aggregates, that is, they exhibit cellular level of organization. Some division of labor activities occur among the cells. In coelentrates, the arrangement of cells is more complex. Here the cells performing the same function are arranged into tissues, hence is called a tissue level of organization. A still higher level of organization, that is organ level, is exhibited by members of Platyhelminthes and other higher phyla where tissues are grouped together to form organs, each specialized for a particular function. In animals like annelids, arthropods, mollusks, echinoderms, and chordates, organs have associated to form functional systems, each system concerned with a specific physiological function. This pattern is called organ system level of organization. Organ system in different group of animals exhibit various patterns of complexities. For example, the digestive system in Platyhelminthes has only a single opening to the outside of the body that serves as both mouth and anus, and is hence called incomplete. A complete digestive system has two openings, mouth and anus. Similarly, the circulatory system may be of two types. One is open type, in which the blood is pumped out of the heart and the cells and tissues are directly bathed in it. And the second one is closed type, in which the blood is circulated through a series of vessels of varying diameters, arteries, veins, and capillaries. Then symmetry. Animals can be categorized on the basis of their symmetry. Sponges are mostly asymmetrical, that is, any plane that passes through the center does not divide them into equal halves. When any plane passing through the central axis of the body divides the organism into two identical halves, it is called radial symmetry. Coelentrates, ctenophores, and echinoderms have this kind of body plan in the figure 4.1a. This one. Animals like annelids, arthropods, etc., where the body can be divided into identical left and right half in only one plane, exhibit bilateral symmetry in the figure 4.1b. Then, diploblastic and triploblastic organization. Animals in which the cells are arranged in two embryonic layers, an external ectoderm and an internal endoderm, are called diploblastic animals. Example, coelentrates. An undifferentiated layer mesoglia is present in between the ectoderm and endoderm in the figure 4.2a. Those animals in which the developing embryos has a third germinal layer, mesoderm, in between the ectoderm and endoderm are called triploblastic animals, Platyhelminthes to chordates, in the figure 4.2b. The next one is coelom. Presence or absence of a cavity between the body wall and the gut wall is very important in classification. The body cavity which is lined by mesoderm is called coelom. Animals possessing coelom are called coelomates. Example, annelids, mollusks, arthropods, echinoderms, hemichordates and chordates in the figure 4.3a. In some animals, the body cavity is not lined by mesoderm. Instead, the mesoderm is present as scattered pouches in between the ectoderm and endoderm. Such a body cavity is called pseudocoelom and the animal possessing them are called pseudocoelomates. Example, Aschelminthus, figure 4.3b. The animals in which the body cavity is absent are called acoelomates. Example, Platyhelminthes, figure 4.3c. Then, segmentation. In some animals, the body is externally and internally divided into segments with a serial repetition of at least some organs. For example, in earthworm, the body shows this pattern called metameric segmentation and the phenomenon is known as metamerism. Notochord. Notochord is a mesodermally derived rod-like structure formed on the dorsal side during embryonic development in some animals. Animals with notochord are called chordates and those animals which do not form this structure are called non-chordates. Example, Porifera to echinoderms. Classification of animals. The broad classification of Animalia based on common fundamental features as mentioned in the preceding sessions is given in the figure 4.4. This is the figure. In the kingdom Animalia, which is multicellular, level of organization cellular level and tissue organ or organ system level. In the cellular level, mostly asymmetrical acoelomate phylum is Porifera. In the tissue level, radial acoelomate animals are Coelentrates, Cnidaria and Ctenophora. With organ system level of organization, bilateral symmetry without body cavity, acoelomate is Platyhelminthes. And from the organ system level of organization with bilateral symmetry with false coelom is Aschelminthus with pseudocoelomates. With true coelom or coelomates, annelids, arthropoda, mollusca, echinodermata, hemichordata and chordata. Echinodermata exhibit radial or bilateral symmetry depending on the stage. Radial symmetry is shown by the adult echinoderms and the bilateral symmetry is shown by the larval echinoderms. Here in the figure we can see the broad classification of kingdom Animalia based on the common fundamental features. The important characteristic feature of the different phyla are described. 4.2.1 Phylum Porifera. The members of this phylum are commonly known as sponges. They are generally marine and mostly asymmetrical animals, like in the figure 4.5. These are primitive multicellular animals and have cellular level of organization. Sponges have a water transport or water canal system. Water enters through the minute pores ostia in the body wall into a central cavity spongocoel from where it goes out through the osculum. This pathway of water transport is helpful in food gathering, respiratory exchange and removal of waste. Choanocytes or collar cells line the spongocoel and the canal. The digestion is intracellular. The body is supported by a skeleton made up of spicules or spongin fibers. Sexes are not separate, hermaphrodite, that is, egg and sperm are produced by the same individual. Sponges reproduce asexually by fragmentation and sexually by the formation of gametes. Fertilization is internal and development is indirect, having a larval stage which is morphologically distinct from the adult. The examples of Porifera: A. Cycon, B. Euspongia and C. Spongilla. Here we can see that in the figure. Examples of poriferans are cycon, scypha, spongilla, freshwater sponge, and euspongia, bath sponge. So the next phylum is phylum Coelenterata, or it is called as Cnidaria. They are aquatic, mostly marine, sessile or free-swimming, radially symmetrical animals which can be seen in the figure 4.6. The name Cnidaria is derived from the cnidoblast or cnidocytes which contain the stinging capsule or nematocysts present on the tentacles and the body. Cnidoblasts are used for anchorage, defense, and for the capture of prey in the figure 4.7. Cnidarians exhibit tissue level of organization and are diploblastic. They have a central gastrovascular cavity with a single opening mouth on the hypostome. Digestion is extracellular and intracellular. Some of the cnidarians, example corals, have a skeleton composed of calcium carbonate. Cnidarians exhibit two basic body forms called polyp and medusa in the figure 4.6. Here we can see in the figure example of coelenterate indicating outline of their body form. A is Aurelia which shows the medusa form and B is Adamsia which shows the polyp form. The former is a sessile and the cylindrical form like Hydra, Adamsia, etc., whereas the later is umbrella shaped and free swimming like Aurelia or jellyfish. Those cnidarians which exist in both form exhibit alternation of generation, metagenesis, that is, polyp produce medusa asexually and medusa forms the polyp sexually, example Obelia. So examples of the phylum Coelenterata are Physalia, Portuguese man of war, Adamsia, sea anemone, Pennatula, sea pen, Gorgonia, sea fan, and Meandrina, brain coral. The next phylum is phylum Ctenophora. Ctenophores, commonly known as sea walnuts or comb jellies, are exclusively marine, radially symmetrical, diploblastic organisms with tissue level of organization. The body bears 8 external rows of ciliated comb plates which helps in locomotion as in the figure 4.8, which is an example of the ctenophore pleurobrachia. Digestion is both extracellular and intracellular. Bioluminescence, the property of a living organism to emit light, is well marked in ctenophores. Sexes are not separate. Reproduction takes place only by sexual means. Fertilization is external with indirect development. Example, pleurobrachia and ctenoplana. Phylum Platyhelminthes. They have dorso-ventrally flattened body, hence are called flatworms, as in the figure 4.9, which shows the example of Platyhelminthes. The first one is tapeworm and the other one is liver fluke. These are mostly entoparasites found in animals, including human beings. Flatworms are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and acoelomate animals with organ level of organization. Hooks and suckers are present in the parasitic forms. Some of them absorb nutrients from the host directly through their body surface. Specialized cells called flame cells helps in osmoregulation and excretion. Sexes are not separate. Fertilization is internal and development is through many larval stages. Some members like planaria possess high regenerative capacity. Example, Taenia tapeworm and Furciola liver fluke. The next phylum is phylum Aschelminthes. The body of Aschelminthes is circular in cross section, hence the name roundworms, as in the figure 4.10. Example of Aschelminthes, roundworm. They may be free living, aquatic and terrestrial or parasitic in plants and animals. Roundworms have organ system level of body organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and pseudocoelomate animals. Alimentary canal is complete with a well-developed muscular pharynx. An excretory tube removes body waste from the body cavity through the excretory pore. Sexes are separate, that is dioecious. That is, male and female are distinct. Often, females are longer than males. Fertilization is internal and development may be direct. The young one resemble the adult or indirect. Example: Ascaris roundworm, Wuchideria filarial worm, and Ancylostoma hookworm. The next one is phylum Annelida. They may be aquatic, marine and freshwater or terrestrial, free living and sometimes parasitic. They exhibit organ system level of body organization and bilateral symmetry. They are triploblastic, metamerically segmented and coelomate animals. Their body surface is distinctly marked out into segments or metameres and hence the phylum name Annelida. Latin Annelus, little ring, as in the figure 4.11, which is an example of Annelida. The first one is Needis and the second one is Hirudinaria. They possess longitudinal and circular muscles, which helps in locomotion. Aquatic annelids like Needis possess lateral appendages, parapodia, which helps in swimming. A closed circulatory system is present. Nephridia, singular nephridium, helps in osmoregulation and excretion. Neural system consists of paired ganglia, singular ganglion, connected by lateral nerves to a double ventral nerve cord. Needis, an aquatic form, is dioecious, but earthworm and leech are monoecious. Reproduction is sexual. Example: Needis, Phyretima, earthworm, and Hirudinaria, blood-sucking leech. The next phylum is Arthropoda. This is the largest phylum of Animalia, which includes insects. Over two-thirds of all named species on earth are arthropods, as in the figure 4.12, which is the example of arthropod. The first one is locust, second one is the butterfly, third C represents scorpion, and D is the prawn. They have organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic, segmented and coelomate animals. The body of arthropod is covered by chitinous exoskeleton. The body consists of head, thorax and abdomen. They have jointed appendages. Arthros means joints and poda means appendages. Respiratory organs are gills, book lungs or tracheal system. Circulatory system is of open type. Sensory organs like antenna, eyes, compound and simple, statocyst or balancing organ are present. Excretion takes place through malphizian tubule. They are mostly dioecious. Fertilization is usually internal. They are mostly oviparous. Development may be direct or indirect. Examples: economically important insects: Apis honeybee, Bombyx silkworm, Laccifer lac insect. Vectors: Anopheles culex and Aedes mosquitoes. Gregarious pest: Locusta locust, and living fossil is Limulus king crab. The next one is phylum Mollusca. This is the second largest animal phylum, as in the figure 4.13, example of Mollusca, A. pila and B. octopus. Mollusks are terrestrial or aquatic, marine or freshwater, having an organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomate animals. Body is covered by a calcareous shell and is unsegmented with a distinct head, muscular foot and visceral hump. A soft and a spongy layer of skin form a mantle over the visceral hump. The space between the hump and the mantle is called the mantle cavity, in which feather-like gills are present. They have respiratory and excretory functions. The anterior head region has sensory tentacles. The mouth contains a file-like rasping organ for feeding called radula. They are usually dioecious and oviparous with indirect development. Example: pila, apple snail, Ictanda, pearl oyster, sepia, cuttlefish, loligo, squid, octopus, devilfish, aplysia, sea hare, dentalium, tusk shell, and Chytopleura, chiton. The next phylum is phylum Echinodermata. These animals have an endoskeleton of calcareous ossicles and hence the name Echinodermata, spiny body, as in the figure 4.14. Example of Echinodermata: A represents Asterias and B represents Ophiura. All are marine with organ system level of organization. The adult echinoderms are radially symmetrical, but larvae are bilaterally symmetrical. They are triploblastic and coelomate animals. Digestive system is incomplete with mouth on the lower, ventral side and anus on the upper, dorsal side. The most distinctive feature of echinoderms is the presence of water vascular system which helps in locomotion, capture and transport of food and respiration. An excretory system is absent, sexes are separate, reproduction is sexual, fertilization is usually external, development is indirect with free swimming larvae. Example: Asteria starfish, Echinus sea urchin, Antodon sea lily, Cucumeria sea cucumber, and Ophiura brittle star. The next phylum is Hemichordata. Hemichordata was earlier considered as a subphylum under phylum Chordata, but now it is placed as a separate phylum under non-chordata. Hemichordates have a rudimentary structure in the collar region called stomochord, a structure similar to notochord. This phylum consists of a small group of worm-like marine animals with organ system level of organization. They are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic and coelomate animal. The body is cylindrical and is composed of an anterior proboscis, a collar and a long trunk, as in the figure 4.15. Here we can see the example of phylum Hemichordata, Belanoglossus, which has a proboscis, collar and trunk. The circulatory system is of open type. Respiration takes place through gills. Excretory organ is proboscis gland. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. Development is indirect. Example: Belanoglossus and Saccoglossus. Phylum Chordata. Animals belonging to phylum Chordata are fundamentally characterized by the presence of a notochord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, and paired pharyngeal gill slits, as in the figure 4.16. Here in the figure 4.16, we can see the chordata characteristics. On the dorsal side, we can see a nerve cord. Then next to that, on the dorsal side, we can see a notochord. Then we can see some gill slits and a post-anal tail part. So these are bilaterally symmetrical, triploblastic coelomate with organ system level of organization. They possess a post-anal tail and a closed circulatory system. The table 4.1 represents a comparison of salient features of chordates and non-chordates. The table 4.1 is the comparison of chordates and non-chordates. Chordates, notochord present. Non-chordates, notochord absent. In chordates, central nervous system is dorsal, hollow and single. In the non-chordates, the central nervous system is ventral, solid and double. In the chordates, pharynx perforated by gill slits. But in the non-chordates, gill slits are absent. In chordates, the heart is ventral. In the non-chordates, heart is dorsal if present. And in the fifth point, chordates, a post-anal tail is present. And in the non-chordates, post-anal tail is absent. Phylum Chordata is divided into three subphyla: Urochordata or Tunicata, Cephalochordata and Vertebrata. Subphylum Urochordata and Cephalochordata are often referred to as protochordates. Figure 4.17. Example of Urochordata: Ascidia. And they're exclusively marine. In Urochordata, the notochord is present only in the larval tail, while in the Cephalochordata, it extends from head to tail region and is persistent throughout their life. Examples of Urochordata are Acidia, Salpa, and Doliolum. The example of Cephalochordata is Brachiostomata, Amphioxus, or lancelet. The member of subphylum Vertebrata possess notochord during the embryonic period. The notochord is replaced by a cartilaginous or bony vertebral column in the adult. Thus, all vertebrates are chordates, but all chordates are not vertebrates. Besides the basic chordate characters, vertebrates have a ventral muscular heart with 2, 3, or 4 chambers, kidney for excretion and osmoregulation, and a paired appendages which may be fins or limbs. Subphylum Vertebrata is further divided as follows. The vertebrata divisions are Achnatha and Gnathostomata, Lag's jaw and bear's jaw. In Achnatha, the class present is Cyclostomata. In the Gnathostomata, which bears jaw, has superclasses Pisces and Tetrapoda. The Pisces bears fins and the Tetrapoda bears limbs. So, under the superclass Pisces, we can see the classes Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes. Under the superclass Tetrapoda, here we can see the classes Amphibia, Reptilia, Aves, and Mammals. Then let's move on to the class Cyclostomata, which is under Echnatha. All living members of the class Cyclostomata are ectoparasites on some fishes. They have an elongated body bearing 6 to 15 pairs of gill slits for respiration. Cyclostomates have a sucking and circular mouth without jaws, as in the figure 4.18, which is a jawless vertebrate petromyzon. Their body is devoid of scales and paired fins. Cranium and vertebral column are cartilaginous. Circulation is of closed type. Cyclostomates are marine but migrate for spawning to freshwater. After spawning, within a few days, they die. Their larvae, after metamorphosis, return to the ocean. Example Petromyzon lamprey and myxine hagfish. Then we can move to Chondrichthyes, which is under the superclass species of the division Gnathostomata, which bears jaw. They are marine animals with streamlined body and have cartilaginous endoskeleton as in the figure 4.19, which is the examples of cartilaginous fishes. A is Scoliodon and B is Pristis. The mouth is located ventrally. Notochord is persistent throughout life. Gill slits are separated and without operculum, gill cover. The skin is tough, containing minute placoid scales. The teeth are modified placoid scales which are backwardly directed. Their jaws are very powerful. These animals are predaceous. Due to the absence of air bladder, they have to swim constantly to avoid sinking. Heart is two-chambered, one auricle and one ventricle. Some of them have electric organ, example torpedo, and some possesses poison sting, example trigon. They are cold-blooded poikilothermous animals, that is, they lack the capacity to regulate their body temperature. Sexes are separate. In males, pelvic fins bears claspers. They have internal fertilization and many of them are viviparous. Examples Scoliodon dogfish, Pristis sawfish, Carcharodon great white shark, and Trigon stingray. The next class is Osteichthyes. It includes both marine and freshwater fish with bony endoskeleton. Their body is streamlined, mouth is mostly ventral as in the figure 4.20, which is the example of bony fish. The first one is hippocampus and the second one is cutla. They have 4 pairs of gills which are covered by an operculum on each side. The skin is covered with cycloid or ctenoid scales. Air bladder is present which regulates buoyancy. Heart is two-chambered, one auricle and one ventricle. They are cold-blooded animals. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is usually external. They are mostly oviparous and development is direct. Examples: marine forms, Exocetus flying fish, Hippocampus seahorse, and the example for freshwater fishes are Lebio, Rohu, Katla, Clarias, Magur. And example for aquarium fishes are Betta, fighting fish, and Pterophyllum, angelfish. So let's move on to the class Amphibia. As the name indicates, Amphi means dual and bios means life. Amphibians can live in aquatic as well as terrestrial habitats as in the figure 4.21, which is the example of amphibia. A represents salamandra and B represents the rana. Most of them have two pairs of limbs. The body is divided into head and trunk. Tail may be present in some. The amphibian skin is moist without scales. The eyes have eyelids. A tympanum represents the ear. The alimentary canal, urinary and reproductive tract open into a common chamber called cloaca, which opens to the exterior. The respiration is by gills, lungs, and through skin. The heart is three-chambered, two auricle and one ventricle. These are cold-blooded animals. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is external. They are oviparous and development is indirect. Example: buffalo toad, rana frog, hyla tree frog, salamander, and ichthyophis, lymphless amphibia. The next one is class Reptilia. The class name refers to their creeping or crawling mode of locomotion, in Latin, repere or reptum, to crawl or creep. They are mostly terrestrial animals and their body is covered by dry and conified skin. Epidermal scales or scutes. They do not have external ear openings. Tympanum represents ear. Limbs, when present, are two pairs. Heart is usually three-chambered but four-chambered in crocodiles. Reptiles are poikilotherms. Snakes and lizards shed their scales as skin cast. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal. They are oviparous and development is direct. Example: Keelon turtle, Testudor tortoise, Chameleon tree lizard, Kellogg's garden lizard, Crocodilus crocodile, alligator, Hemidactylus wall lizard. Poisonous snakes are Naja cobra, Bangaris crate, and Vipera viper. Here is the example of reptile. A represents chameleon, B represents crocodilus, C represents Keelon, and D represents Naja. Then class aves. The characteristic feature of aves, birds, are the presence of feathers, and most of them can fly except the flightless bird, example ostrich. They possess beak. As in the figure 4.23, the forelimbs are modified into wings. The hind limbs generally have scales and are modified for walking, swimming, or clasping the tree branches. The skin is dry without glands except the oil gland at the base of the tail. The endoskeleton is fully ossified, bony, and the long bones are hollow with air cavities, pneumatic. The digestive tract of bird has additional chambers, the crop and gizzard. The heart is completely four-chambered. They are warm-blooded homeothermous animal, that is, they are able to maintain a constant body temperature. Respiration is by lungs. Air sacs connected to the lungs supplement respiration. Sexes are separate. Fertilization is internal and they are oviparous and development is direct. Example: Corvus crow, Columba pigeon, Psittacula parrot, Struthio ostrich, Pavo peacock, Aptenodytes penguin, and the last one Nephron vulture. Here we can see some examples of birds. A represents Nephron, B represents Struthio, C represents Psittacula, and D represents the pavo, the peacock. And the last class is class Mammalia. They are found in a variety of habitats: polar ice caps, deserts, mountains, forests, grasslands, and dark caves. Some of them have adapted to fly or live in water. The most unique mammalian character is the presence of milk-producing glands, mammary glands, by which the young ones are nourished. They have two pairs of limbs adapted for walking, running, climbing, burrowing, swimming, or flying. Figure 4.24. Here we can see some of the mammals. A represents Ornithorhynchus, which is an oviparous mammal, and B represents Macropus, which is kangaroo, and C represents the Pteropus, which is a flying fox, and D represents the Balaenoptera, which is the blue whale. The skin of the mammal is unique in possessing hair, external ear or pinna are present. Different type of teeth are present in the jaw, which can be called as heterodont teeth. Heart is four-chambered. They are homeothermous. Respiration is by lungs. Sexes are separate and fertilization is internal. They are viviparous with few exceptions and development is direct. Example, oviparous Ornithorhynchus platypus, and the others are viviparous form, which is Macropus kangaroo, Pteropus flying fox, Camelus camel, Macaca monkey, Rattus rat, Canis dog, Felis cat, Elephas elephant, Equus horse, Delphinus common dolphin, Balaenoptera blue whale, Panthera tigris tiger, and Panthera leo lion. The salient features, distinguishing features of all phyla under animal kingdom. Here we can see in the table 4.2, which represents the salient features of different phyla in the animal kingdom. So Porifera have a cellular level of body organization. They have a various symmetry. Coelom, segmentation, digestive system, circulatory system and respiratory system are absent in poriferans, and they have a distinctive feature, body with pores and canal in walls. The next phylum is Coelenterata or Cnidaria. They have a tissue level of body organization, radial symmetry, coelom, segmentation are absent. Digestive system is incomplete, circulatory and respiratory systems are absent, and their distinctive feature is nidoblast present. The next phylum is Ctenophora, which have a tissue level of organization. They have a radial symmetrical body. Their coelom is absent, segmentation absent. They have an incomplete digestive system. Their circulatory and respiratory system are absent, and distinctive feature is comb plates for locomotion. The Coelenterata and Ctenophora can be commonly called as CC brothers because they share a common features. The next one is Platyhelminthes, which have an organ system level of body organization. But in the descriptive section, the NCERT says that they have an organ system, not organ level of body organization. So that is more relevant. Symmetry is bilateral. Coelom is absent. Segmentation is absent. They have a incomplete digestive system. Circulatory and respiratory systems are absent, and the distinctive feature is flat body and suckers. Then phylum Aschelminthes. They have organ system level of body organization. Symmetry is bilateral. They are pseudocoelomate animals. Segmentation is absent. Complete digestive system. We told that they have a well-developed muscular pharynx, complete digestive system. And circulatory and respiratory systems are absent. Their distinctive feature is often worm-shaped, elongated. Then comes phylum Annelida. They have organ system level of body organization, bilateral symmetry. They are coelomate animals. Their segmentation present. They have a complete digestive system. Circulatory system is present from Annelida. Then they are absent of respiratory system. They have a body segmentation like rings as their distinctive feature. Then comes arthropoda, organ system level of body organization, bilateral symmetry, coelomate animals, segmentation present. They have a complete digestive system, presence of both circulatory and respiratory system, and they have a distinctive feature of exoskeleton of cuticle jointed appendages. Then comes mollusca, which have organ system level of organization, bilateral symmetry, coelomate animal, and segmentation is absent, complete digestive system, presence of both circulatory and respiratory system, and the distinctive feature is external skeleton of shell usually present. Then comes echinodermata with organ system level of organization, radial symmetry, coelomate animal, segmentation absent, digestive system is complete, presence of both circulatory and respiratory system with distinctive feature as water vascular system, radial symmetry. The next comes the phylum Hemichordata, which has organ system level of body organization, bilateral symmetry, coelomate animals, and absence of segmentation, complete digestive system, presence of both circulatory and respiratory system, and they have the distinctive feature worm-like with proboscis collar and trunk. The last phylum is Chordata, and it have an organ system level of body organization, bilateral symmetry, coelomate animals, presence of segmentation, that means segmentation present, complete digestive system, presence of circulatory system, presence of respiratory system, and their distinctive feature is notochord, dorsal hollow nerve cord, gill slits with limb or fins. So then here we can move to the summary portion of this chapter. The basic fundamental features such as level of organization, symmetry, cell organization, coelom, segmentation, notochord, etc. have enabled us to broadly classify the animal kingdom. Besides the fundamental features, there are many other distinctive characters which are specific for each phyla or class. Porifera includes the multicellular animal which exhibits cellular level of organization and have characteristic flagellated choanocytes. The coelentrates have tentacles and bears cnidoblast. They are mostly aquatic, sessile or free floating. The ctenophores are marine animals with comb plates. The platyhelminthes have flat body and exhibit bilateral symmetry. The parasitic forms show distinct sucker and hooks. The Aschelminthes are pseudocoelomates and include parasitic as well as non-parasitic roundworms. Annelids are metamerically segmented animals with a true coelom. The arthropods are the most abundant group of animals characterized by the presence of jointed appendages. The mollusks have a soft body surrounded by an external calcareous shell. The body is covered with external skeleton made of chitin. The echinoderms possess a spiny skin. Their most distinctive feature is the presence of water vascular system. The hemichordates are a small group of worm-like marine animals. They have a cylindrical body with proboscis collar and trunk. Phylum Chordata includes animals which possess a notochord either through or during early embryonic life. Other common features observed in the chordata are the dorsal hollow nerve cord and the paired pharyngeal gill slits. Some of the vertebrates do not possess jaws egnatha, whereas most of them possess jaws gnathostomata. Agnatha is represented by the class Cyclostomata. They are the most primitive chordates and are ectoparasites on fishes. Gnathostomata has two superclasses, Pisces and Tetrapoda. Classes Chondrichthyes and Osteichthyes bear fins for locomotion and are grouped under Pisces. The Chondrichthyes are fishes with cartilaginous endoskeleton and are marine. Classes Amphibia, Reptilia, apes and mammals have two pairs of limbs and are thus grouped under Tetrapoda. The amphibians have adapted to live both on the land and water. The reptiles are characterized by the presence of dry and cornified skin. Limbs are absent in snakes. Fishes, amphibians, and reptiles are poikilothermous, cold-blooded. Aves are warm-blooded animals with features on their bodies and forelimbs modified into wings for flying. Hind limbs are adapted for walking, swimming, perking, or clasping. The unique feature of mammals are the presence of mammary gland and hairs on the skin. They commonly exhibit viviparity. So, this is the end of the chapter, and I think this is very useful for you, these audiobooks of NCERT. Let's crack this wonderful journey together. All the best, guys.